Hello YouTube, welcome to the Pokemon Ultimate Monotype Nuzlocke Challenge. We might need to work on that title because that is a bit of a mouthful. So Pokemon Sun and Moon have just been released here in the UK, and that's given me the itch to play some old school Pokemon. I wanted to give myself a little bit of a challenge, but I got stuck choosing between doing a Monotype run or doing a Nuzlocke run. So I thought we'd try something a little bit different and see what would happen if we combine the two challenges. So the plan is for this to be a bit of a challenge. So with that in mind, we're going to move the battle style to set. And while we're here, I'm also changing the text speed to fast, because in this day and age, who's got time for slow text, right? Welcome to the world of Pokemon. Thank you, Professor Oak, for that introduction. Now, I've not tested this yet, so we are heading into unknown waters here. I am expecting this to be difficult, so my aim is just not to fail in the first couple of episodes and fall on my face in front of you all. But before we get into all of that, we need to give ourselves a name. I'm going to keep it as simple as I can, and I'm going for Red. Okay, so we're Red, and this is our rival. Professor Oak, forgetting the name of your own grandson? For shame, sir. For shame. Okay, so Professor Oak clearly has a problem with names, so let's give his grandson a very memorable name that he will not forget. No? I'm too immature. You're right, you're right. Okay, so we're Red, so we'll call our rival Blue. Hopefully the Professor will remember it this time round. Yes, our rival is Blue. Okay, so our very own Pokemon legend is about to unfold, and here comes a Shrink-Ray. Okay, so we're straight onto the Super Nintendo, gotta be done. But the game is right, we're 10 years old now, we've got to get out there and see the world. Leave home, for sure. But first we're going to grab this potion, really important for Nuzlockers, trust me, you'll thank me later. So we're going to head downstairs and tell Mum we are on our way. Leave home. I was just saying that. Couldn't agree more. I mean, I'd said it upstairs. You guys heard me, right? Yeah? No, yeah, I'm weird. It's okay. It's cool. It's cool. Okay, so while we're being dragged back to Oak's lab, I thought I'd quickly run through the rules of this challenge. Firstly, any Pokemon that faints is considered dead. That means no reviving, no taking it to Pokemon centers. That fainted Pokemon has to be removed from the team as soon as possible and can't be used for the rest of the run. Second rule is that we can only capture the very first Pokemon we encounter on each route. Should we kill it or the Pokemon flees, then we cannot capture anything for that route. No second chances, that route is off limits to us. This particularly sucks for this run, because if that first Pokemon isn't of our chosen type, then not only can we not capture the Pokemon, but that route is off limits for us. So that's going to severely limit the amount of Pokemon we can capture. I did tell you this was going to be difficult. Okay, time to choose our starter. All three are great Pokemon, but I know all of you are going to be yelling at me to take the Charmander, just so we can have that sweet Charizard later in the game. But unfortunately, Charmander doesn't fit the type we're choosing for this run, so he's out. Squirtle's a great Pokemon as well. I actually chose Squirtle in my first ever run through of Pokemon Red. But again, he doesn't fit the type we're using, because we are going to be using the poison type for this run through, which means for this series, the starter we're choosing is going to be Bulbasaur. The final rule that I forgot to mention earlier is that we are going to be nicknaming all of our Pokemon in this series, because that was part of the initial Nuzlocke comic, so we are going to copy that. Bulbasaur here is going to be called Dino Plants, and that's because it looks like a dinosaur and it has a plant on its back, and that is good enough for me. So we have our first team member. Welcome, Bulbasaur. Since we took Bulbasaur, Blue will obviously be taking the Charmander, because we all know Blue's just that kind of guy. So we've got our first battle with Blue coming up right now, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to discuss exactly why I chose the poison type for this series. I did actually think long and hard about this, and I wanted to pick the most challenging type that I could. And ultimately the decision I took was because of just how overpowered the Psychic type is in Gen 1. I mean, Sabrina's gym with a team full of poison type Pokemon, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet. But I am a little bit of a sadist, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. There's also the fact there's quite a good variety of poison types in Gen 1, so I'm hoping we can build at least an interesting team, if not a particularly strong one out of it. But you know, all of that's a long way in the future, and we really need to focus on this battle right now because we're kind of getting our asses handed to us here. I did say earlier that potion was really important for a Nuzlocke run, and that is why this first battle is actually really dangerous for a Nuzlocke challenge, because you've only got the one Pokemon and any blackout is a game over. So I think with that potion we're going to be okay. Probably 2 more tackles will take down the Charmander. Critical hits are not what we need right now, but yeah, 1 more tackle and we'll be done with this battle. And there we go, that's the win. Dino Plant grows to level 6, which is all good, and a good start to the series. So Blue says he will smell us later, which I always thought was kind of a weird farewell, but I guess it's kind of his catchphrase for the game, so we'll let it slide. Okay, so I mentioned during that battle that a blackout means that we're going to lose the challenge, so how else could you lose? The other way you can lose is to get stuck, which in Pokemon generally means you need an HM but you don't have a Pokemon that can learn it. So my rules on HM slaves are going to be that I can catch HM slaves, but only if they are the first Pokemon I encounter on a particular route. So no special HM slave captures per se, but if a Pokemon that can learn Surf, for example, happens to pop up as my first Pokemon on a route, then I can catch that. However, I can't use that Pokemon in battle, and I can only get them out of the PC as and when I need the specific HM in the game. I hope that all makes sense. If not, let me know down in the comments and I'll try and clarify that for you. So the shopkeeper gives us Oak's parcel to run back to him. Now, as a kid, I always thought this item was going to be integral to the plot of the game. Obviously now I know it's just a fetch quest to get you to Viridian and then back to get the Pokédex. But as a kid, because it was the first item you got in the game, I always thought that meant it would be important. And I spent a whole chunk of the game wondering what was going to end up being in that package. A random tidbit for you there, but obviously when it turned out to just be a Pokeball, part of me was so disappointed. Okay, so we've returned Oak's parcel, and it is a custom Pokeball, which is just so disappointing. So disappointing. Blue's going to join us now, and obviously the Professor is going to give us both the Pokédex, which we have absolutely no chance of completing in this run. I mean, I'd be impressed if we got to even 15 or 20 different types during the series, because as much fun as the Nuzlocke rules are, they do not assist us in any way in trying to complete the Professor's goal to capture every Pokemon. Blue says to leave this all to him, which just this once I'm going to agree seems like the best idea. So while we grab the town map from Blue's sister, just because we can, we have covered how we can lose this challenge. So let's cover what qualifies as completing the challenge. So to complete the challenge, we will have to first defeat all 8 gym leaders, defeat the Elite Four, and then finally defeat the champion. If by some miracle we manage to do this and our Pokemon are entered into the Hall of Fame, then we will have won the challenge. I'm not going to include Mewtwo here because taking on Mewtwo with a bunch of poison type Pokemon is just stupid, and I'm just not going to do it. So if we beat the champion, that's it, we've won. But obviously as we take on this level 3 Pidgey, we are a long way from any of that right now. It's all good though. We'll train up Dino Plant for a little bit as we make our way back up to Viridian City, where hopefully this time the mart will sell us some Pokeballs. So while it doesn't really matter for us in this challenge, because you can only catch Pidgeys and Rattars on this route, if you were thinking of doing your own Nuzlocke, you don't actually count any Pokemon you encounter before you can get your first Pokeballs. So we could actually go and buy some Pokeballs from Viridian now, and we would be able to come back and capture the first Pokemon we encountered on this route afterwards. I hope that explanation makes sense. I'm going to be putting the full rules down in the description for this challenge. So if anything I've said's not been clear, check down there and hopefully everything will make sense. Okay, so we just need to knock off this level 3 Pidgey and then we can continue on our way back. One more tackle should do it, and that is the Pidgey down. Dino Plant goes to level 7 and learns Leech Seed, I believe. Yep, there we go. Leech Seed is actually a really useful move early in the game because of the continual damage and the health regeneration at the low HP. That does really help. Oh, come on. Okay, so we've got to beat one more Rattata before we go, which... yeah, we're quite low on health. Can we run? Okay, cool. We can run. That's good. So we're making our way back to Viridian City, and we're going to head up to the Pokemart because I just want to grab some Pokeballs before we finish for the episode. Because next time... oops, wrong button, sorry. Because next time I want to get started on trying to capture a team. Obviously, if we find the right Pokemon, but we've got possibly some Nidorans to the left, and definitely the option of capturing a Weedle if we go up to Viridian Forest, so that will be good. We don't need any of the other items. We can't get poisoned, which is very useful in Gen 1 because the poisoning can kill you, unlike in later gens, and we definitely don't need burn heals or anything. So I think we're going to call it there, guys. I hope you've all enjoyed the video. If you're excited for the rest of the series, please do let me know by leaving a like. Thank you for watching this, the first episode in this series, and I shall see you all in the next one.